WebEx is a great tool. Because of the way that I'm delivering this presentation through WebEx, I can't actively show you the thing itself. So, for example, when I'm doing the Excel training, I've got Excel open, Word open. If I open WebEx and show you how to start a training session, it will just go horribly wrong because I've already done that. So instead, we've got a slideshow, which isn't quite as exciting, but you get the general gist. So WebEx is all about doing things like video meetings, training with content sharing and online collaboration. So what that means is that if you want, you can just get a whole bunch of people, like we do at JJ Systems, when we have our company meeting, and you just all connect to it together. Well, one person hosts it, and then you can see everybody, pretty much like we can see each other now, but without a slideshow. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your tablet, you can do it on the PC. Fairly certain you can do it on Mac as well. So it's a great versatile tool for that, and you'll know how difficult it is to connect to it because you've all connected to it. I don't think I have ever connected to it as a client, so I don't know what the other side's like. So the video meetings are really good. Training is really flexible. It works quite nicely to bring up Excel and show Excel to people or Word or whatever. You can also share files and you can share different bits of media on there. But another nice thing is online collaboration. So you can bring up things like a whiteboard and work together on it, or collaborate on an Excel document or a Word document. So there's a lot of products out there that do a very similar thing. When I was looking for something to do these presentations, I tried a whole bunch of them and rejected a few, and then eventually decided this was a better one. Now,
you should just have a webinar at the moment.
Just hear a voice in the background. I'm guessing that's you, Amanda. I'm going to mute your microphone.
All right.
That's all right. There you go. You can swear now if you like. But if you want my attention, just wave and I'll unmute you. Okay. So some of the key benefits, as you can see on the slide, it's a Cisco product, and people that are used to dealing with Cisco know that you can pretty much trust their stuff. It's well established. This product's been around for a very long time. When I've been using WebEx for hours. No, I mean it's been. I signed up for this years ago, and it's a really good. It's a really well established, mature product. It's got the things you expect from video conferencing in that it's encrypted, it's stable, it's secure. I've used this continuously almost now for like about a month, and I've got a pretty ropey internet connection from a technical point of view, really small bandwidth, even to the point where it was switched off 2 minutes before one of my presentations. I had to use my mobile phone with 1 bar of signal strength. And it still worked for all that, which is really great. You couldn't do that with Microsoft Teams. But yeah, so it's a great secure product. It's really easy to use, not as easy as some products. It doesn't take too long to learn. And it's not resource hungry. It doesn't require a massive bandwidth or a super PC. I've got a fairly standard laptop that I'm working with here. And the best bit, well, not the best bit, but one of the great things is, like a lot of these products at the moment, it's free. And so they used to charge for it, but they now have a pricing structure where if you want to use more features, then you can sign up for them. So getting started then, it is pretty straightforward. You go to webex.com and you create an account. And as it says in big letters when you get there, you do not need a credit card. You just go in, you sign up for the account, put your details in, email address, decent password. It sends you an activation email and you're off. Then the next thing to do is install the host software. Now, the host software is tiny. It installs a little applet thing on your PC, or you can install the app on a phone or a tablet, and then you end up with this little pop-up thing that looks like this at the side. And once you've got that there, then you can start a meeting. Simple as that. You just click on Start Meeting and it starts. Now here, and this is intentionally blurred out, is a URL that you can give to people for your private meeting room. Now, if you click on this little button next to it, it copies it to your clipboard, then you can paste it into an email or into a text or whatever. And you send that to people, and then all they have to do is click on that link, and then they can join your meeting immediately. So if you just want an off-the-cuff, immediate meeting, you want to get everyone together, then that's the way to do it nice and quickly. I'll talk about scheduling meetings in a minute, but listed here are all the upcoming meetings. In other words, this is the daily meeting that I have on my system, where at 11 o'clock my time we'll be doing this training. But you can schedule meetings for a specific day, time, whatever. Or if you want to do one, like I say, just on the hit, you just click on the start meeting. Once you've clicked on that, it comes up with this box. Now, this is the sort of like preparation area before your meeting starts. And this is where you can check that your sound's working, and you can check the video's working okay, and you can sort of like just get yourself ready to go, and then you can hit start meeting. So here, this is the video, and I purposely had my cover slid across while I was doing that because I didn't want to have my face on this presentation forever, really. So we could just be in that little box over there instead. But yeah, that'll show you your video, so you can reposition your camera and everything. And then down here, you can decide what kind of audio you want. Now, you can connect it. This is one of the nice technical things about the Cisco meeting system. Is you can connect it to a video system. So if you've got one of these elaborate corporate setups where they've got the camera built in and the microphone built in, and it's the boardroom, it'll work with all that kind of stuff. However, most people just want to get it going on a laptop or on a PC, so you don't need to worry about that. But here you can choose, or you can at the very least test your audio system. So if you click on that, it shows you your audio, and you can see the little bars moving about, and you can adjust the gain and all that kind of thing. Because that's half the trick of making sure your audio works. But after you've done it the first time and everything's working okay, then you get to this screen, you just click on Start Meeting. Simple as that. Then when your meeting starts, you have a box like this. Now, basically, this is showing all the things that I can share, because if I just start a meeting and then everyone joins, we'll just get a video call. And that's fine. A video meeting is great because you can see the participants, you can rearrange the screen, you can do various different tweaks to it. But if you want to get big and clever, then you'll share stuff. Now, you can either share the desktop as a whole, well, the actual screen, which is one way of doing it. I purposely didn't go that route with my training because I don't want to use up loads of resources showing things that I don't need to show. So, for example, if I was doing Excel training, I wouldn't show the whole screen. I would just show an application. And up here, it shows all the applications that you've got open. So in this instance, I've told it just to share PowerPoint. So I'm just giving you the PowerPoint screen. And if I minimize this, then it will probably be grayed out and you won't see anything. But I don't necessarily want to show my desktop because there's no need. It would just, confuse the issue. But it would be possible if you wanted to. If you haven't got the application open, you can click on other applications. I wouldn't do that. I'd just open the application first. So if you've got Excel and you want to share it, have Excel open, click on Excel, and then it will share it. You can click on share a file, and then that way you can access a file and collaborate with it. Or you click on New Whiteboard. A new whiteboard brings up a whiteboard, shockingly enough, and then you can share that. But really, it's just a case of clicking on this little share button here, box with an arrow pointing out of it, and then choosing what you want to share. And then you get to the record meeting option. Now I'm gonna, I'm muted Amanda just in case you're feeling left out. But it's the nice thing about this, you can mute people, and that's some key clients on here that I was so excited to see them here just so that I could mute them. But it's nice if you're like, for example, Adam there's taking a phone call, he's got it muted, and it's not affecting us at all, but he can still pretend he's in the meeting. You can still pretend he's interested. But you can do that yourself, or you can let the host do that. Another thing that's handy is the record meeting feature. And so at the moment I've got it recording so that we can look at it afterwards and people can take the mick out of me. That's really easy. With the buttons on the bottom, you just click the one that looks like a record button, and you tell it where you want it to dump the recording. Now, one thing about this is that they are pretty big files, and so when I do an hour's training, it's probably about 120 meg. Is that right? Gig? I can't remember these days. Anyway, that's rubbish, isn't it? 120 gig, now that's ridiculous. That's it's a big old file. Let's put it that way. It can't be 120 gig. No, that'd be silly. Anyway, 120 meg. Make a note of the typing of this so we can take this out of the recording. Anyway, it creates a massive file, and then when you finish the session, it then has to do a kind of like a rendering where it adds the sound and the picture all together into this file. And so the computer, for an hour's recording, will probably take another half hour sorting the stuff out afterwards before it's a usable video. So that's worth bearing in mind if you're recording a file. 120 meg, not gig. So, moving on. What's the next slide? Go on. Meeting room, the lock on the door. Now, this is a really useful thing because if somebody does want to sort of sabotage your meeting, in theory, if they've got the code from somewhere or they've got your private meeting room code and they notice you're doing a meeting, they could just jump in and interrupt you while you're chatting away or working away. So this is why you've got the option for locking and unlocking meeting rooms. Now, they call it Zoom bombing quite commonly because, there's certain security issues relating to Zoom, a rival product, and it's not uncommon for people to get onto people's meetings and do daft stuff to sabotage them. And so when it started becoming quite popular, what they did at Cisco was they automatically set up a room locking feature. So 10 minutes after the meeting started, it automatically locks the door anyway, that people can't join the meeting. Now, that feature's always been there, but it automatically locks the door after 10 minutes. Now, you can unlock a door if you want people to join after 10 minutes, or if somebody joins, it comes up on the screen saying that they're trying to attend the meeting. Then you have to click on a button and let them in. So it's not a big deal. It's just an extra level of security. And if you know it's there, it makes perfect sense. And so, for example, if somebody was trying to join this now, a latecomer, then it would probably come up and tell me that they're there, and I can click to let them in. Okay. Next, ending the meeting. So that was brief, our first meeting. You get to the end of it, you click on the cross down the bottom or the cross at the top, depending on what you're sharing. The top, but the funny thing is when you share content, this bar that I'm demonstrating goes from being a bar on the bottom to being a bar at the top. And the one thing, the funny bit, or mildly interesting bit, the one thing that's difficult to find is the leave meeting. It's on the more button. You just click on more, then you go down to leave meeting. And then when you leave, you've got to click on end meeting. So if you try to do a really smooth goodbye, Michelle knows about this because I try this every day and fail. I go goodbye, and then click on it and go, I'm going now, leave meeting, leave meeting, end meeting, goodbye. And so on a video call, it's easy. You just click on that cross and end. But on these, you go up to the bar at the top and you click on more, and then you click on leave, and then you click on end. It's very intuitive. Anyway, so that's ending the meeting. Now, that's using a personal meeting room, which for a lot of people, that might just do everything they need. It works really well, it's really simple to use, and you just click a button and it's straightforward. However, if you want to schedule meetings and add them to people's calendars, and they can be Outlook calendars, or you can even do invites for things like Google calendars and the like, especially if it's a repetitive thing like this, or if you want to add passwords, or you want to be really secure or really precise about how it works, the way that you schedule a meeting is you log into a web page and you go to the settings. There's a little menu down the side here, and you go to meetings and you click on schedule, and you get a box that looks something like this. You give it a name, give it a password. You don't have to put a password on there, but it's a good idea to put a password on there. This meeting's got a password, but because of the way that you've joined it, it probably didn't ask you. Did it ask you for your password? No, good, because you've got the right link. Yeah, the password's sort of in there. And then you can schedule the time, and if it's something you do on a regular basis, you can save it as a template, which is an option just down the bottom there. And then when you create a new meeting, it says meeting templates. You can just select a template from it. If I were to click on the show advanced options, there's a whole bunch of other things we can put in there, and that's things like the sound settings and other bits and bobs. But scheduling a meeting is a piece of cake, and then when you save it, it appears on that schedule list that we saw at the very beginning. So, cool, that did go smoothly and quickly. I say smoothly, if I can remember the difference between megabytes and gigabytes. Anyway, the final thing then is looking at other people's products. I just got to go through this quickly because this obviously has a bearing on whether you decide to use it or not. Now, there's a whole load of other products out there that do video calling and online meetings and resource sharing and all that malarkey. Content sharing, not resource sharing. One of the biggest competitors that's really risen to fame is Zoom. Zoom's really good with an asterisk at the end. Zoom's free for the first 40 minutes, and I've never heard of anybody getting to the first 40 minutes and being told they've got to pay to carry on. It normally says, hey, we'll give you the rest of your day for free, and then you might want to get the paid version, which is even better, which is great marketing, really easy to set up, and it's actually easier to use in some respects than WebEx. However, the security side of it is not good. From what I've been told through trusted resources, there's a lot of Zoom bombing going on, which is where people crash the meeting and then they show inappropriate content to screw things up or embarrass people. There's talk of the encrypted stuff not actually being encrypted at all, where it says it's encrypted. So in theory, this video is encrypted, and people wouldn't be able to see a meeting that we were having if you wanted to keep it private. They wouldn't be able to see anything you hold up. Whereas on Zoom, I'm not so sure that that's the case. And a couple of other issues with it. One is that they've done something big and clever with URLs, where if you share a URL, basically a website link, somebody could potentially follow that back to your hard drive. And I'm not going to go into that in depth because it's very dull. It's just a security issue. So you don't want to go put Zoom on your PC going, it's brilliant, it's free, it's quick, everyone uses it. Can't be bad. And then find out somebody's accessed your hard drive. One of the other really big issues is the idea of how it's funded. Now, my understanding of it, or the way that it was explained to me, is that they sell information, they sell content. Just like a lot of these companies do, like Facebook, they use information for advertising, for targeting advertising. And I believe Zoom does it the same way. But the problem is you're sharing conversations. And so that means that if they're looking at your content and using that for targeted advertising, it means that somebody has to watch the conversation. So that's not a great way to have a meeting. So those are the issues with Zoom, but the product itself is brilliant. So I don't know how they're going to, if they're going to resolve those, or whether they'll just change the business model, or whether I've been wildly misinformed. But that's the issue with that. Microsoft Teams, it's just torture. It's like somebody's kind of explained to somebody how things work with social media and meetings and all this kind of stuff. And it's like a 5-year-old's explained it to a junior programmer, and they've taken their shiniest crayon and written down the specs and then created a product around it. Teams will do everything you want it to do, but my goodness, it will take you so long to work out what those things are and where they are. It's some of the easiest stuff. It's got a little brilliant chat system. You think this is like WhatsApp. I just send an emoji. You got to click on like 4 buttons to get down, to drill down to the emoji thing. And you think why would you just have something so painful as putting a smiley into a chat? It's like going to the dentist. And then you want to set up a meeting. So I set up a meeting. I put it to the calendar and everyone in the team can attend. It's called Teams. We're all on there. We're a team. And then unless you invite people individually and specifically, they won't know because they're not looking at a shared calendar. And it's like so much about it. It's the kind of thing like if you imagine someone's done a really horrible job of producing a piece of art, and they spent so long staring at it, they believe it's beautiful. And you look at it and go, that's horrible. And then they just keep pointing out why it's good. It's like that. You look at it and say, well, a Microsoft guy could stand here and say it's fantastic over and over again, but just because it does do everything, but it just doesn't do it well. And aside from all that, you just like, I don't know, you just have to have the most powerful PC and decent internet connection to make it bearable. Otherwise, it just takes over the whole of your computer and makes everything else run at the speed of a greased hedgehog. Other than that, I think it's a great package. But that's the problem with Teams. I mean, it does do everything. It's secure, it's Microsoft, it's dependable, but it's really resource hungry. My goodness, it's tedious. And then you've got Google Meet, which is another product. Google's alternative, great product, fast, uses proven technology, but you need to have a Google Gmail account, which doesn't tie in nicely with everybody. But yeah, so those are the key products that are out there. There are a lot of others.